I hear you have some concerns about a new student in your classroom.
Yes, I do. Her name's Michelle, and I've had her in class for a few weeks, and I'm not really sure what to do with her in the classroom setting. I also have to go to an ARD in a week, and I have a couple of concerns. One is, what do I do with her in class? And the other is, how do I prepare for the ARD?
Well, since the ARD is next week, you can use this time to make some observations about Michelle in your classroom. That way you'll have information to share at the meeting and some specific examples of her behavior that you can ask questions about. Let's talk about your class. What kinds of activities go on in your classroom?
Well, we're constantly moving from station to station. It's pretty much to perform any task, they have to move around quite a bit.
So the students are up and moving around all of the time?
Yes, constantly.
How has Michelle responded to this?
Michelle is fine about moving about, but when I check on her progress, a lot of times she hasn't completed the tasks.
That could be contributed to her disability. She is qualified for special education services under the category of Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. This is also referred to as ADHD. There are 3 types of ADHD. One is impulsive, another is inattentive, and the third type is a combined type. Michelle does have the combined type, which means that she can be impulsive and inattentive at the same time. That might explain why when you check on her in class, she does not have any work completed. She could be distracted by all the movement and have difficulty focusing on the task at hand. When you go to the ARD meeting, you may be asked to write some goals for Michelle. The goals will describe what the student will be expected to master in your classroom. The goals should be aligned with the TEKS, and they reflect the learning that is occurring in your classroom. You may also be asked to write appropriate accommodations and modifications for Michelle. When you're writing goals for Michelle, you'll use information about her. You must use the information about her PLOP to determine the appropriate goal. The PLOP describes how the student is performing academically. The PLOP also describes how a student's disability impacts their performance in the general ed class. This information will be shared at the meeting.
So I really need to focus on how Michelle is currently performing. And then I use that information to create goals for her based on my program of study. One goal that I thought of might be that she could identify basic Photoshop tools with 80% accuracy for a measurement. Or that she would do step-by-step instruction with maybe 5 different steps with minimal assistance. And perhaps after a certain amount of time, she could do that without any assistance, maybe at the end of the 6 weeks. But what I don't know is how Michelle is currently performing. Can we talk about that now?
Yes, that's a good idea. It'll help you when you're preparing for next week's ARD meeting. Let me tell you a little about Michelle. Once again, Michelle has ADHD. She's currently functioning below grade level. She has difficulty staying on task and remaining in her seat during class. She does follow directions when the teachers ask her to comply, like when they ask her to return to her seat, but they do have to do this frequently. Also, when she's working at her desk, she gets distracted and completes very little of her work. Information from Michelle's paperwork indicates that there is no reason that she could not perform on grade level. Therefore, it is believed that her inability to stay on task causes her to fall behind and impacts her grades. Using the information about Michelle, let's see if we can write some goals for your classroom. Think about your classroom and objectives. While you're doing that, I'll provide you with some general goals.